April for JRPGs was fun, but I'd be lying if I said it went to plan. My time in Nelke and the legendary Alchemists continued far longer than anticipated since I failed my first playthrough with it, but I did manage to finish it at least and get into one other JRPG as I had planned to, but it did take a bit of time. This meant I unfortunately ended up skipping Final Fantasy XII for Switch, but I nonetheless enjoyed the two main games I played in April, and managed to fit a couple of small things in between too, but my month definitely took more of a quality over quantity approach gameplay-wise, which is usually a good thing. So in what was a month of deep JRPG across town building in one game and deep story in another, these are the JRPGs I played in April. While I spent the majority of my month playing Nelke and the legendary Alchemists, most of you probably know that I've been eagerly awaiting Zanki Zero Lost Beginnings release since last year, and naturally I got into it as soon as I could in April. There was a point where I was still playing Nelke around Zanki's release date, and I got a bit worried I wouldn't get time for it, but I'm so happy that I pre-ordered it, which made me force myself to get my money's worth and play it, and I'm so happy I did, as it was everything I wanted it to be, even while I was just starting it towards the end of April. Its Danganronpa-esque dark humor is something I really missed, and combined with its dark moments and unique story made everything easy to get into as I experienced this story for the first time in English. I had played its demo in Japanese last year, so I'd already seen some of its first hours, but it's nice to finally understand all the small jokes and dark things in between that really heighten everything. And as I got just beyond where I'd played in the demo, each new part had me wanting to keep playing to see what happened because of how well its story was told and all of the unexpected twists it even took in early chapters. I also enjoyed trying its survival aspects too. Building and taking care of my base is something I wanted to play with more, along with its Shigabane system for extending characters' lives that I used a fair few times at the start of my playthrough, as in some of its tougher difficulties, getting cornered by some of its enemies, especially unexpectedly, can be pretty deadly. Even though I was only at the start of the game in late April, Zanki Zero really scratched that deep story need I have, with all of its dark twists and surprises I love that make playing this kind of game so satisfying. And I look forward to sharing more of my thoughts about this game soon, as my time in April led to binging it at the start of May, so I hope to have a review out with my full thoughts soon. I briefly mentioned in the last JRPGs I played video my experience with Nelke and the legendary Alchemist learning curve, and found out in April my learning wasn't done yet as I failed my first playthrough in its story campaign. I failed one of its last two challenges by learning a little too late how to get the most out of my shops, along with which systems were hurting me more than doing things for me like its commission synthesis system. But thankfully, in a cool feature, the game's clear data features a playthrough bonus that gives you a boost based on how far you got the first time round, that makes it easier to go back through and use everything you learned to get back where you were up to again quickly. It's thanks to that clear data I was able to learn the systems much better to finish its campaign and even get the true ending. And while I think I much prefer regular Atelier games to this, there was something satisfying about improving at its system so much that I could finish it the way I did. I did also discover a few problems with the game during April that I addressed in my really long review, including some weird localization hiccups and a game crash, and these were things I only discovered for the first time in April, making last month's experience with it quite different to March's. There was so many times in my playthrough where I came across little things missing or harder to use, like its wishlist feature not always being accessible, that made me question why things weren't as smooth as they could be. So I really hope if Gust use this idea again that they smooth everything out and make it better, because it's not a bad concept for a game at all, and I really liked some of the story events and satisfying feeling when you do well in it. It just needs a little bit of work to be its best, I think. Now that I'm done with Nelke, I've already started playing it a little in Japanese to see more of its events at my own pace, perhaps because I've gotten so used to spending so much time with its characters and gameplay that I may as well see more of it. So while I'm sure I won't completely dive into it again anytime soon, as it would be a lot of work, I can see this as a fun game to keep on the side without the pressure to try and get a good ending since I've already got the true one, and I look forward to seeing all the events of my favorite characters like Verona and Furus eventually. I've been out at Dragalia lost in the world of smartphone games for a good while recently, but with the addition of a Fire Emblem Heroes event for a limited time only in Dragalia, I had to return for at least a little bit to see this coming together of what have been two of my favorite smartphone games in the last couple of years. One of the best parts about not touching a smartphone game for months is the amount of loot you come back to, so this gave me a lot of currency to do a bunch of 10 summons to try and get as many Fire Emblem characters as possible. And while I only got one more on top of Alphonse, who you get automatically in the event, it was nonetheless fun to return to the world of Dalco music and content-rich smartphone gameplay, just this time with a Fire Emblem twist too. I'm not far into the event at all, but I did get past the story intro and into the first chapter to see a little bit of what the event is. And so far, I like seeing the Dragalia and Fire Emblem characters together. It's interesting seeing little differences in the way both sets of characters speak, and I like how battles take inspiration from Fire Emblem with the way characters attack in tactical patterns and ways that encourage you to be more tactful, but still in that active Dragalia Lost system at its core that makes it an interesting combination of the two systems. So far, it's a nice way to return to both games in a small way, and since there's been more content added this month already, I'd like to get back in at some point, even though I don't give a whole lot of time to smartphone games these days. All in all, it was fun to try this limited time experience before it goes, and if you're a fan of these smartphone experiences, I'd recommend at least giving this event a look. With my Switch often near me when I edit videos, Atelier Lulu was my go-to game for when my computer was processing stuff, because with its Arland-esque gameplay mechanics that I know so well, it's an easy one to jump into. I did purposefully avoid advancing the story in April since it required a little more focus than what I had time for, but loading my demo save into the full game unlocked a bunch of side events and quests that are the kind of light and fun moments I love between the main story of other Atelier games, and have got me really hyped up for Lulua, as it's a big part of what I like about Atelier. I actually had a bunch of computer trouble last month, so I was glad to have many of these moments make me genuinely laugh and cheer me up a little, and they were so the opposite to the sometimes intense focus and stress of Nelke and the legendary Alchemists that had Lulua remind me why I love the Atelier series so much, and was a good way to get into the mindset for playing more of it this month. Hopefully they'll release a demo for Lulua like they did in Japan at some point so people can try it before buying it, but I hope the fans new and old to Atelier or the Arland games give this one a try, as from what I've tried, it's the kind of lighthearted fun that is much more expected from Atelier than its most recent game. Speaking of returning to Arland, Atelier Lulu is also my main plan for May as well, as it's kind of a quieter month for JRPGs this month. I'm making this just at the end of some time off from work, which let me binge and finish Zanki Zero in a few days, so reviewing that will be one of my first priorities for May, but that then leaves me with a fair bit of spare time in between games as Atelier Lulu comes out in English on the 21st. I do have a few video ideas to get to as I've been leaving some demos and whatnot on hold since reviewing stuff back-to-back since the Caligula Effect overdose, so I do want to use some of my time on just making content and things like that for a bit. But in between, I also want to look at finding some time in my schedule to play backlog games more regularly as well. I'm okay at putting time aside for new releases, I think, but not really for backlog games, so even if it's just some occasional downtime or for a day or two, to have more time to play Persona 2 or even other games could be really good, I think. All of this is just something I'm thinking about right now, but if I think of something more solid, hopefully I'll be able to mention it in the next JRPGs I played video, because hopefully there'll be evidence of me having played more Persona 2. Otherwise, I'm very excited to play Atelier Lulua in full and in English this month. I started the year in love with the Atelier Arland series, so my Atelier Lulu hype has been going on for months. So I'm ready to play it in full, and I hope my experience with Rorona, Totori, and Maruru will help Atelier Lulua be an epic closure to the Arland series of Atelier games. Although it's a quieter month for JRPG releases in May, whether it's a quieter month for JRPGs for you too, or you end up picking up Atelier Lulua, I hope everyone still has another fun month of playing and enjoying JRPGs in May as well. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you end up playing in May and what you played in April. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, along with a list of every game I mentioned in this video. Until next time, thank you, bye!